What up, guys? Welcome to the Sound Centric Podcast. I'm Samuel Sarfo.
I'm Adam Dash.
And thank you all for tuning in for another episode. Adam, it looks like your dreams are coming so close, yet so far. 21 Savage wasn't able to make it to the It's Blur concert at Montreal, so guess who replaced him? The man, the myth, J.Cole. And he was able to perform No Role Models, Wet Dreams, Middle Child, and a lot. So it seems like they're doing literally everything but drop a song together.
Right? I don't understand. And Drake said on stage, he's like, yo, like, I should be on this guy's album. And J. Cole seemed like he was shocked by saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could just be reading into it too much, but if J. Cole's in Canada for 2 days, he showed him the album. They made a song together. Come on. Right? Let's be honest. They got a song. It's going to be a hit of the album. And, I mean, if I was in the audience, I would have spontaneously human combust. I would have bursted into flames. Because that's like my dream, to see J. Cole live.
Do you think the album is done?
I mean, we were talking about this last time. How long can you possibly tinker with an album? He's had kids, like, his kids have grown up since he started making this album. Like, how much of that stuff still applies to how he's currently feeling? But yeah, I bet he has the songs laid out and he keeps just adding to it. Or it's been done and he knows in a specific time he wants to drop it. Because knowing Cole, there's a documentary that's coming with it. There's a whole actual rollout to the process. But I thought it was interesting, like, what songs he performs. Because he hasn't necessarily had, like, a hit song in a while. Like, he's still doing No Role Models, which is an older song. It's not like he's doing My Life or any of the songs off of the off season. So I think he's going to come with some hits. I'm down for that It's a Boy mixtape. If that's remember that Instagram post he made?
Yep, I remember.
Said, like, each thing.
Mm-hmm.
If It's a Boy is a mixtape, I am down for mixtape Cole right before we get the best J. Cole album of all time.
I don't know. I just want to hear the fall off already. Like you said, it's been a long time, but I'm not mad at Cole because obviously he wants to craft something that's gonna be a classic. I mean, there's some haters out there, some people in really high areas of press, and they say that Cole doesn't have a classic, so he's hungry to perfect it. And of course, we just got news that J. Cole and Balls are releasing. We're still not sure yet. A single or maybe a collab album. Passport Bros.
Nah, single.
A single
for Boz's album. It's called something about being drunk. The word drunk is in the album title. But yeah, Boz finally dropping.
That's good. And at least we get something from Cole this year, hopefully to prep us up for the fall off. I don't know, man. I'm just hungry to hear the album. There's going to be some hits in there. Good take about J. Cole not having a hit for a while, but I also feel like that's also by choice because what was his last project? Before the mixtape project, it was KOD, and then he dropped, what was it called?
Yeah.
For
Your Eyes Only.
No, afterwards.
For Your Eyes Only. Revenge of the Dreamers.
Okay, what's
Revenge
after?
of the
Okay,
Dreamers.
he dropped a lot, actually. Cole's actually consistent.
He's great. I'm not saying necessarily he hasn't dropped, like, every album I love. Like, the Offseason could be my favorite album by him. But there just hasn't been, like, a huge hit. Middle Child would be the other song. But that's still it's like 5 years ago at this point. And it's crazy that at the end of KOD, that song, like 1985, the song's called 1985, parentheses, like, intro to the fall off. So this shit, he's been really planning this, which is cool when artists do that. Like, Kanye went into his first 3 albums. I had this graduate. Like, I know what each thing is going to be called, all school themed. I think that's sick, but making an album for 5 years it's pretty crazy.
But I think he'll come back with hits, no doubt. But Adam, it's been a week, my guy. You know the drill. What is your playlist for this week and your leading single?
Okay, so I finally had my first job interview last week on Wednesday. Yes, sir. With Live Nation. So I'm going to say the song and title, as I was singing before we started this, is Can't Say, because I can't say how the fuck it's going to go. But hey, I thought I did pretty well with it, as good as I could have done. Because the interviews are cool because you just get to talk about music. It's not like the stressful, crazy interview questions you get to hear.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really in the business field, but like there's people I've heard who've been asked questions like, how many ping pong balls do you think that can fit in an airplane? Because they're trying to test
weird questions like that.
They're like trying to test your ability to think on the spot, and they're not asking you trick questions. For me, they're asking me.
That is a trick question. That is whack.
I wasn't asked that.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying I know people who've been asked questions like that, or like, how many diapers are sold in a year, do you think? And they want to see like how you think through the answer.
Yeah.
But hey, I think I did well, but
All
Can't
right, let's
say.
go. We'll cross our fingers for you, bud.
How about you? How we feeling?
My title for this week is going to be called The Matrix. One, because awesome movie, classic. And also, I saw some friends over the weekend that I haven't seen in a while. And obviously, when you're so busy with, as an adult, with responsibilities, duties, jobs, school, it's so easy to get distracted and get lost in the sauce. So just stepping out of the Matrix, waking up and just smelling the flowers. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, and doing the things you love. So much of life we spend it doing like shit we do not like. So just trying to find our
Facts.
passions and all of that. The song is gonna be "Allure" by Jay-Z. I know you love that song. I love that song. One of my favorite
Yeah.
songs
I think
of
it
all
might be my
time.
favorite by him. Yeah.
Easily, I
That
think so. That's
beat.
my favorite song. Incredible,
Have you
Pharrell, right?
have Yeah, have you seen the
Mhm.
video of when he shows him the song?
Yep, and he makes
He
yep,
like
yep,
when he came in the studio like 4
mhm,
a.m., he's like,
yep.
you gotta lay a verse in this right now.
Exactly. Classic album, and I think it is my favorite Hove album, and I do think it's his best. But the reason I chose that song was
Yeah.
because Jay-Z has had a hell of a week. First, with his exhibition release at the Brooklyn Public Library called The Book of Hove, which has a lot of archival like out of items that he had throughout his professional
Yeah.
career. Also, his foundation raised $20 million for the 20th anniversary gala in New York,
Sheesh.
giving to underserved communities for education. And then also his mother attended with his wife, who they got married this year.
Gloria
And of
Carter.
course, how big that was in 2017 when that was revealed to him and creating a song.
Yeah.
What was it called? Smile on 444.
Smile.
So
He
yeah.
said,
Mhm,
had to pretend so long she was a what's the line? Had to pretend so
mhm.
long she's a fuck, I forget the word. Oh, thespian. Mama raised 4 kids, but she's a lesbian. Had to
Mhm.
pretend so long she a thespian.
There we go.
Yeah, there, I got it. Shout out Gloria Carter. That whole exhibition was sick. They redid.
Mhm.
I forget what's the studio called. It's whatever famous studio he recorded in. Downtown, maybe something.
Okay.
I don't know. They've remade the entire
Mhm. It's
studio,
incredible.
the entire museum. I'm forgetting what building was it at in New York City?
It was at the
The
Brooklyn
library.
Public Library.
And they designed the whole thing with like lyrics all over the wall.
Mhm.
Hey, good for hip hop. That's a
Yeah.
big because these people, and it's cool that they get like Pulitzer Prize for it, but it's
Mhm.
like it's poetry. The way he writes
Oh, yeah.
specifically, maybe compared to other artists, it's like very you could break it down and study that in a college class the same
Mhm.
way you would study like a Maya Angelou poem or a poem of
Exactly.
someone else. That's just the only poet that came to my mind. But
Yeah.
yeah, shout out Hove.
It's definitely a W for hip hop. I love seeing that artists getting their flowers. Even this year's inductees in for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know Eminem is not eligible. A handful of other like
I
big
thought
rap
I
stars
thought
are
Eminem got it
eligible.
last year.
Oh, I'm tweaking. That was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Because he was talking, as he was talking about like, "Oh, Haley, don't listen to this," and I was like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
mad
yeah,
drugs." Yeah, that was funny. Okay, but a lot more
yeah.
hip hop stars are getting more eligible and getting into it, so that's always
Yeah.
great.
Also, to give some more flowers slash
Mhm,
announcement, Nas
mhm.
dropping Magic 2 this month. If you
Seriously.
remember the Magic album, that
Mhm,
has been that's my favorite album that he's dropped in the last 5 years,
100%.
like, by far.
Mhm,
For me, the King's Disease album, they're good, but they've kinda came and went for
mhm,
me. Compared to that Magic album, I think we both
mhm.
loved it. It dropped
Oh,
randomly on,
yeah.
like, New
Mhm,
Year's Eve, and that man was barring out. There was, the Drip Gods, or there was a song with A$AP Rocky produced by
yeah.
Premier,
Double the bass
Wave
god.
Gods.
Wave
Wave
gods, yep.
Gods. That one was fire. 4016 Building, I think was
Mhm.
one of them. Bro, that project's crazy. So hey, I'm down for it. Apparently, it's produced by The Alchemist and Hit Boy.
Mm,
Hip Hit Boy. Give him
on a
flowers.
run. Oh, yeah.
He's on a crazy run.
Yeah, and when the album dropped, that was one of my favorite rap projects, just projects in general of the year. And like you said, that was probably my favorite Nas project in a while. I am kind of skeptical about the whole Magic 2. Like, yeah, he's already done King Disease 1, 2, 3, Magic 1 and 2. I feel like Magic was a sole project, like a single project. It was by itself. It was cohesive, perfect. I love the image. Once I saw the cover, bro, I'm like, oh, this is about to be album of the
Yeah,
year. I don't
it
want a
was
Magic
nice.
2. I want something maybe different. But hey, I'm excited to get
Yeah,
new Nas. I won't complain at all.
yeah. And we had this slated for later, but I think it kind of goes with this conversation.
Go ahead.
So I was saying, I forget which artist they were talking about,
Hmm.
but somebody was putting up an artist saying they have such great work ethic. They've released 3
Hmm.
albums this year. And like my question was, what's the difference between a strong work ethic and just dropping anything you make? Because we hear these stories that Cole or a JID, they're making songs every day.
Yep.
And sometimes you're so amazed, you're like, whoa, they're in the studio all day. but it's a job. The same way that your dad and mom and my dad and
Yeah.
mom, they go to work and they work all day. They don't get to like get applause like,
Mhm.
whoa, they were in the office all day.
Yeah.
And I think if Kendrick wanted to, J. Cole wanted to, Drake wanted to, they could drop 4 albums a year. So
Mhm.
is like I think it's weird to clap for these artists. Like it's not the best material. He's just dropping everything he makes. They make a song, it's on the album.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it last week of artists dropping too much. And I feel like did like Nas go on a big break before dropping King's Disease between his like album before that? I feel like he did. I could be
Mhm.
wrong. And now he's dropping so much that I don't think it's that exciting when I hear about a new Nas album. I'm excited because I like the first Magic album, but sometimes these artists do drop too much where it kills the excitement.
Yeah, the number one culprit I have of this, and listen, he is one of the greatest of all time. But I'm sure you heard stories of Lil Wayne. All right, according to
Yeah,
the book, he said that he recorded 53 songs in one night. Now listen, for me, work ethic isn't based upon how much you drop; it's just what you're able to create, and what you create doesn't have to be released. I mean, I know it's so hard in this era to remain relevant. So you feel forced to drop a lot of projects in a short amount of time or a lot of songs, singles, whatever. But like, and I know you don't like artists taking forever. I know this whole conversation, especially with what Drake said, artists should be max taking 2 years to drop. But I really like when artists take their time, live life, find experiences, and then make an album. I don't care if Frank hasn't dropped in a while. I don't care if Kendrick didn't drop, Travis, whatever. Now you're so geared up for Utopia, right? You wouldn't been as geared up if it came out right after Astroworld. Now you're going crazy over Utopia. Everyone's
Cap.
going crazy, right? Because it
That
took a while.
it's been 5 years. If this album dropped 2 months after he dropped Mafia and Escape
Mm,
Plan, the excitement would be the same level. I don't think it's
okay.
risen since
Not
that.
at
I think
all.
it's gone.
Not even by
I
0.001%.
I think it's gone down.
Really?
I think people. I think if you wait 5 years,
Hmm.
other artists pop up and become more famous than you.
Okay.
And there's been not that a certain artist has fulfilled what Travis brought to the game,
Hmm.
but in his absence, people fell in love with other artists, and that's what happens when you take too long. On the other hand, Drake dropping every year, I'll give it to Drake. He's dropping different types of stuff. So he drops like a house music album, then he drops a collab album in 21. So honestly, those were exciting because it's like, whoa, what is a 21 Savage collab album gonna sound like? What is Drake house music gonna sound like? It's not like he's dropping three, like NBA Youngboy will drop a project and you'll skip through it and every song starts like the same way.
Hmm.
And they're like, God, these are all just the same songs. But in my opinion, I think Tyler the Creator does it best. He's skipped it this year, but that every 2 years dropping thing, I think that's perfect. If you want to take 3 years, sure. 5 years, half a decade, I think that's too long.
I
And if
mean,
you have other
hey, man.
businesses, yeah, they don't drop for Adam Dash, but if you want to, I mean, if you have other businesses or you're running a record label or you're running a business, yeah, go for it. Jay-Z
Hmm.
does not need to drop an album. That's why it's so exciting when Jay-Z, because he's such a legendary figure that when he
Hmm.
drops, it's like, oh, he has something to say.
Yep.
So I get that. But I think 2 to 3 years is a good spot.
Hey man, I leave it to the artist, whatever amount of time that it takes them to make something perfect. All I care is if the end goal becomes perfect. And also shout out to Poiden, who responded to our last video. He said that on Reddit, someone said that Travis has already, even before the album dropped, sold 200K because of the
Yeah, I
bundle
saw
deals
that.
he's been doing, because of the merches. He's basically been selling his album with multiple different covers. So fans get a choice to pick what cover they want. And along with that, inside comes merch and different things, which increases the amount of sales he makes for just one
Mhm.
person. Last time we dropped Astro, there was a huge situation that happened that Billboard even made a law like you couldn't do it. So now
Yeah,
Travis is kind of going around it. But basically, he beat Nicki the last time, and Nicki was
yeah.
raging. She was on Twitter, what she shouldn't do. Nicki, you're good. Don't worry about the sales, girl. But yeah.
I remember this. So I don't know how that works this
Hmm.
go around with him doing that, but hey, he wants that. He wants that 500,000 mark. I
Hmm.
think it easily will top um, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
it'll be the most. I mean, I don't know what. I'll go rap albums because I don't know what Morgan Wallen was selling with that. The album that he fucking put crack in that shit. Everyone in the Midwest loves that album. I'm gonna say it's the highest selling. I'm trying to think what dropped last year. It's gonna be the highest selling rap album in the last 3 years, easily. Does
I
sound
think
like
that's
it's
fair.
possible.
How much did
I'm trying to
let
think.
me see
Maybe
how much CLB sold. Give me a sec.
yeah. I think maybe like Metro Boomin might have done really well on his album. But I think hey, you're gonna
Damn,
get
Drake sold 613,000 for CLB first
first
week.
week.
Yeah. No, maybe that's a lie. Let me double check my sources.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
damn,
sounds high.
613,000. That's no cap.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna say Utopia. Utopia's gonna beat it because it's gonna get the Drake feature. He's gonna have the Bad Bunny feature. He's gonna have the
Mhm,
Weekend feature.
mhm.
Fucking what girl is he gonna have? He's gonna have like fucking like Doja Cat
Probably
or
like
something.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, is it Rosalia?
Yeah, I was gonna say Rosalie. I
Oh
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised.
But hey, Utopia album of the year incoming
Mhm.
soon.
I'm ready. And
Soon.
also, obviously, giving flowers to obviously Nas, Hit Boy, Travis too. I also want to give flowers to Russ. Russ to me is one of the most slept on artists in the game. And in the list of important artists in hip hop, and that list can be however long, it can be 1,000 artists long, 10,000, I don't care. Russ is on that list for what he's done as an independent artist and made a blueprint and paved the way of what that
Yeah.
looks like. This man, Russ, as an independent artist, was performing in Egypt in front of the pyramids. This guy's been
Tell him.
selling out stages, arenas in the United States and abroad over Europe, in Dubai. Name me artists who are doing that, right? But it seems like that people don't agree. Recently there was a little bit of a huge convo on Twitter, specifically with Lil Baby. Of course, Lil Baby's an incredible
Yeah.
artist, and he's one of the new wave of rappers who's gonna come and really push hip hop forward. But with this recent tour, he had to cancel a lot of his concerts because he wasn't selling tickets. Mind you, man, these tickets are hella expensive. They're like on average $200, so maybe that's a factor. We know that ticket prices are going up. But then there was a whole conversation on Twitter essentially saying, who can sell arenas now in this age? And of course, Brown Rap Fan, he has the J.Cole AV on
Yeah.
Twitter. He said these rappers are the only rappers who can sell out arenas in 2023. Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, Eminem, Jay-Z, Kanye West. Russ saw this, quoted it, and also put his video of him like rapping in an
Yeah.
arena. Of course, he got like some backlash from lame Twitter people saying, oh, blah, 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 which he obviously did. What do you think?
Yeah.
People aren't selling? What's going on?
A couple of things. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, people don't always know the difference between an arena tour and a stadium tour. It's a
Yep.
football stadium versus a basketball stadium. That's like a difference of like 40,000 people. This conversation was about arenas. And I saw someone say this, and it's facts that these days you have to be giving a product that's worth someone like basically paying multiple meals for your tour. Is Lil Baby putting on a show that's worth $200? No, and I saw
Probably not.
no, probably not. And I saw he's enlisting Tiana Taylor, so maybe he's got like some choreography coming. But let's be honest, live shows aren't that good anymore because people aren't
Mm,
putting that time into it. So people aren't willing to spend that money, and that's an excessive amount to see Lil Baby. I've
yeah.
seen like Future and Migos on tour. Like you have to go with someone else.
Yep.
It's huge. Even Drake is going on tour with 21 Savage right now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring opening acts. You got to bring people that are actually going to get people to their seats. To add to that list of artists who can fill, Tyler the Creator can do arenas like easily. He's such a strong
Mm-hmm.
fan base, so I think I saw him in an arena in Columbus.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else on the top of my head. I feel like Future probably could do arenas.
By himself?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of just hip hop artists right now.
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
think
think.
that's really it, man. I don't think there's a lot.
Can Nicki do an arena tour by herself? Like
I don't
Doja Cat,
know.
if
I
if
don't
you want to
know in
consider her a
2023.
rapper,
Okay, Doja, fair.
which is pretty
She
crazy
definitely
that
can.
she's on that level. Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think.
Let me hurt your ego a little bit too. There was conversations that are saying that Jay-Z couldn't sell out. And as proof, even back in 2018, and I remember so clearly was because Jay-Z was doing the Carter's tour of Beyonce. He was coming to OSU at the shot, no, not the shot, at the shoe. And I was a clown. I could have bought a ticket for like, I think it was 45 or $50, and I didn't. Biggest regret of my life, not to see Jay
Yeah,
Z and Beyonce. But they're saying that even Jay Z alone couldn't sell out a stage or whatever, an
yeah,
arena, stadium. It has to be with Beyonce paired together.
yeah. Jay Z. Yeah, I don't know if he can do arena. He's someone who's so smart that like whatever his tour is, I know he
Mm,
does the research into that. And with now, we've talked about this before, but Spotify allows you to see like where your biggest fans are. And there's a thing called
mm,
super fans, which I think super fans are people that like follow you on Instagram, your social media. They listen to you every single day, and it can show you this hub. So it was a video about Brent Faiyaz, who's an independent artist,
Mm-hmm.
and how he picked his cities. He knew, say, in Philadelphia, I have 500 super fans, so I can do a 2,000 person venue. But in New York City, I have less fans, so in that city, I'm gonna do 1,000. And it's better there to pick because you want to perform to a packed crowd. You want to
Mm-hmm.
perform to a big house that's empty. I think that can be like could hurt your ego. You're
Yeah.
looking at an empty stadium. But yeah, it's hard, and these people aren't providing value. You got to. If you've seen the videos from the Drake concert, it looks sick. I feel like he knows how to put on a concert. I'm actually seeing him on Sunday in New
Damn.
York,
Where? Oh, New York. Wow.
Madison Square Garden. I've never been
Mm-hmm.
there, so I'm hype.
Are
That
you
concert looks
watching?
crazy.
Are you gonna watch Oppenheimer and Barbie that week too?
I gotta get my tickets to see that in
But
IMAX first.
damn well it's sold out by now. I already got
Yeah, I
my
gotta look.
tickets, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to see the Monday showing of Oppenheimer, but I'm hyped.
Okay, say
But
less.
yeah, it's hard to sell out a stadium
Mm-hmm.
these days. And Lil Baby, I don't know. You haven't has he dropped an album in a while? He's just
It's
not
been
the
a
same.
while. Yeah. And I think that just goes to emphasize one, I think like the reverse effects of digital marketing. Of course, when the internet came about, everyone's going crazy and they're now utilizing this new platform to market and promote. But there's also this division where it's like, okay, so you can now have a fan base online, but now that may not reflect in the real world when you're trying to actually be performing in these venues. And I remember Morgan Gold, she's an independent artist in Chicago. Fantastic. Go check her out,
Shaw
guys.
Morgan.
And there was a debate about live performances not being important anymore. When you look at all these independent artists, TikTok stars, whatever, they don't really perform out on tour or stages or anything. They really just make music in their bedrooms and put it out there. They don't need to hone on their performance skills. And I think that shows, especially when they can't sell out tickets and they can't make money from it.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet that was talking about there's a difference between artists and rappers. And I
Mm.
think every single person that we named as an arena artist is an artist and not just a rapper.
Hmm.
It goes beyond their music, even and their music is always comes together with a sound to it. They're also clothing, they're also visual, they're all into
Hmm.
every aspect of that. And some of these, which is not a problem if you just want to be a rapper and get on a beat that you don't make and you just like rap your ass off. I like doing it. But there is a difference between these people who take their craft as like a whole of every aspect to it, to the visuals, to what you're just hearing in your ears, a little bit more seriously. Maybe not seriously, but
Hmm.
they put way more intent into everything they do.
I'm gonna push back on you a little bit. I think a lot of people might be heated about what you said because that conversation has been had. Obviously, you put it in a nice light, but some people have used that to say, obviously, like it's got when Tyler said, "I hate the word rapper," because it's almost like demeaning in a sense, like, "Oh, he's not an artist. He's a rapper," as if rappers aren't creating an art through lyricism, through rap, rhythm, and poetry.
Yeah.
I still think they're artists. I think there's just a level of how far you go out with that art. I think that's why I say again why Jay-Z his Black Album is his best album, why Eminem Show by Eminem is his best album because it's a combination of being an incredible artist and being a great rapper at the same time. Having incredible precise, sharp lyricism on digestible production that everybody can like. And it's not too raw, it's not too underground. It's the perfect mix of everything. But I don't know. I think as a rapper, you're still an artist. In my books, you're still an artist. Of course, you can be like
I
you can be I don't know some like rapper head and not drop or create any art or anything, but you're still an artist in my books.
so maybe there's a different word we have to come up with because I
Hmm.
know you mean like anyone who makes music is an artist. They're making
Hmm.
art, but maybe there's another word to talk about these like
Hmm.
Renaissance man who
Yeah.
think about every aspect to it.
Hmm.
It's like the difference between a beat maker and a producer. A beat
Okay.
maker just makes a beat, gives it to an artist.
Hmm.
But a producer says, "Oh, I think you should make this vocal here, and I think you should cut the beat here, and I think you should jump onto the beat here." And there's a difference to that because there's way more intent behind the whole thing. You didn't
Hmm.
just make a beat, which is hey, beat making is fun. Sometimes it's fun just to
Yeah.
post a beat on YouTube, and sometimes it's fun to collaborate and work with an
Hmm.
artist and make a whole sound. But yeah, I don't know what that word would be for rappers that do take it to that next step.
Yeah. But even
We can
think
make
about it
our
this
own.
way, even like artists such as The Weeknd who are able to flesh out these incredible artistic ideas, it's not just them making it. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who help that vision come to light. Just because do they do
Yeah,
one thing? Are they not artists? So it's a whole
yeah.
it's complicated.
No, I get that, and I mean, it's been a great year for music. I know it took so long for us to reach a hip hop album that reached number one, which
Mhm.
wasn't a to me, it was not a good album. Hey, shout out
Mhm.
to Uzi, which I saw a stat. It was him, J. Cole, and someone else are the only artists to go number one with every album they've dropped. Good for Uzi. I did not know he's gone number one with every single album he's dropped.
Only him and Cole?
Yeah, and it was someone else. Maybe it was like in the last
Mm.
10 years. Like maybe Kanye one time didn't go number one, or Kendrick
Wow.
maybe didn't. I don't think Kendrick went number one with Good Kid,
Mhm.
Mad City. Maybe it was
Yeah.
Drake.
Okay. Drake
Could have
makes
been Drake.
sense. Drake makes
Crazy
sense.
stat.
It's a
Uh,
crazy stat.
but to get into it, what have been your top albums and songs for this year so far?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, 2023 has been, I think, a good year. I think you just have to dig for quality music. I know a lot of people have been complaining hip hop hasn't been doing well, which it hasn't, and I'm not gonna hide from that fact. I really haven't been listening to hip hop at all this year, truthfully. Loki, I want you to go first because
Okay.
again, I don't even have many hip hop albums. I'm gonna share some like common eyes which you'll get, but I want you to go first.
Yeah.
Get your mainstream and hip hop artists that you like out, and yeah,
Yeah. Before I go into my top five, just some shout
okay.
outs to other albums. I
Hmm.
enjoyed Conway the Machine has a label called Drumwork, which
Hmm.
actually put out a great collaboration tape because sometimes those can be really clouded with bad songs. I thought it was really good. What else? What's his name? Fucking Killer Mike. Great
Hmm.
album. Wasn't
Yep.
in my top five, but that first week I really liked the album. I kept listening to it. That one definitely
Hmm.
had a very cohesive sound.
Yep.
Kenny Mason, blanking on what the album is called, but it has one of
Mhm.
my favorite songs of the year, Dracula. So shout out to him. Now for my
Okay.
top five, I sent you this guy, and you need to listen to him.
Okay.
Ice Cold Bishop. What is it called? I can't read my own fucking handwriting. Generational Curse.
Okay.
I need like get him a flex voice.
Uh-huh.
This shit's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like if Kendrick did his crazy vocal inflections for an entire album. He's got like a really high. It's very acquired taste voice. It's like if you
Mhm.
were listening to West Side Gun. He's at the humor of that, and some of the songs are funky, like a song that might have been off of To Pimp a Butterfly.
Mhm.
It's insane. So
Okay, I'll
shout out to
listen.
Ice
I'll
Cold
listen.
Bishop. You gotta listen to that one. You're gonna be
Yes,
like,
sir.
you've been complaining like, oh, these albums aren't sound like albums. This sounds like an album.
Okay, say less.
Uh,
Say less.
Won't He Do It? Conway the Machine.
Mhm.
It's just I love Conway. I love his style. He changed it up a little bit here, but I mean, I always love him on those Griselda type beats,
Mhm.
and I just think he's one of the best rappers of all time. I
Yeah.
generally think his rapping skill, he's just so fucking good.
Mhm.
An album that was disappointing for some people, but I listened to it so much that it's just ingrained in my head
Yep.
is Que Termine, Amine, and Que
Mm.
Tronada.
Good one.
It doesn't have the summer sound that I think most people went into it expecting it, but it's got bangers on it. My favorite tracks are Let's Talk About It with Freddie Gibbs, because any
Mhm.
song Freddie's on, I love.
Yeah.
And I love Rebuke and Sauce It Up. Great songs. And the whole album, it's a really good album. It sucks that it wasn't the most summery of albums, but
Yeah.
great. F65 by IDC. I don't care. Or no, I don't. IDK. I just wrote IDK. Shout out to him. I love this album. Pit Stop's my favorite song on it. He's like the best at transitions. He has the singing ability where his songwriting is like Frank Ocean, and I
Mhm.
think his rapping voice sounds like Kanye. Like it just sounds like his vocal. So dope album. Sorry for fucking
Yep.
up your name there. And my favorite album of the year, a guy I
Oh,
saw open for
so
Smino
far.
and JID so far.
Mhm.
It's gonna take a lot to top it because I'm obsessed with it. Shout out to Jordan Ward with Forward. Could be
Yep.
pronounced Forward because that's like part of his name.
Mhm.
Fam Jam 4000, I Don't Care. That's why I wrote IDC. Got confused.
Mhm.
I Don't Care. My two favorite songs of the year, and it's so good. I'm obsessed with it. I can't stop listening to it. He's got that St. Louis sound. He's just original. It's fucking dope.
No,
Uh,
he's a great
those are
artist.
my
I'm really happy about your list too, man. Your list was solid, and I'm happy you didn't go honestly, so mainstream. You actually named artists I bet a lot of people listening wouldn't even know.
yeah. No, shout out to me. I'm great. I I won't get into my songs yet because let you give your albums.
I'll let a quick run through. I won't even pinpoint on songs so much. I'm gonna pinpoint on albums. One, of course, Paramore dropping this year. That was a big record for
I need to
me. I
listen
ended up
to.
going. Yep, I ended up seeing them in concert as well. I love that album and
Facts.
arguably probably my favorite record from them. Boy Genius. I mean, come on. I bet you've heard everything about them and their album, The Record. That album is winning so many Grammy awards. Mark my words. Go and clip this right now. That album is gonna win so many awards at the Grammys. Incredible record from those three girls. Lana Del Rey dropped as well. Loved her
Yeah.
album. There's a girl named Caroline Polachek. She's a pop artist, experimental, absolutely incredible. Kanye even sampled from her. A lot of different hip hop artists even sampled from her because she does experimental sounds. Incredible. It's called Desire. I Want to Turn Into You. Incredible pop song. I'm also happy that Janelle Monáe dropped Age of Pleasure. Have you heard that album yet?
I have not. I've seen the album cover though.
Okay, well, you said you're missing the summer vibes from the Kaytranada album. Then go
It's
and
good.
check out this project for the summer vibes. It's that good, amazing Afro house beats, all of that.
Yeah.
Daniel Caesar also had his chance to come back. He had a good, like a brief week period
Yeah.
where people were hyping him up
I
as well.
I really like the album, and I need to re-listen to it because I loved it on my first 2 listens, and then for some
Hmm.
reason I just didn't listen to it again. But
Yeah,
for all I know, that would be top 5 for me if I just
yeah.
kept up with listening to it.
No, it's like that sometimes, man. It's hard. Like there's so many albums that I like, but I don't really return to that much. Same thing. The Kali Uchis dropped as well. Red Moon and Venus, great project. As well as Dominic Fike. I'm a huge Dominic Fike fan. I
Yeah.
do like his previous album better. But Sunburn, I think it's a great
It's a good
project. But
album.
I'm still waiting for him to drop that magnum opus because he's a real talented guy. And then lastly, of
Yeah.
course, I'm a 2000s baby. I gotta give it a shout out. Miley Cyrus had her moment. What's it called? Flowers, right?
I
Yep.
can buy yourself flowers.
Exactly, Heat, and then also Kesha came back with an
Uh.
album called Gag Order, which was really good. But that's a summary of my 2023, honestly. I bet there's more I didn't mention, but seriously, no hip hop artists on this list. Um,
I think
it's just
you'll
yeah.
like this Ice. You gotta listen to this song, like this album in order. But
Mhm.
Ice Cold Bishop, shit's fire.
Okay.
For songs that I'm really into, Little Things, Georgia Smith has been on
Mhm.
repeat the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's little things that get me high. I said I Don't Care, Fam Jam 4000 by Jordan Ward. That's
Mhm.
my intro. Like if you need an introduction to him, people,
Mhm.
that's the song. Independent artist, I believe. Alex Bannon, the song Doc Weiler.
Mhm.
That's not a rap song. It is amazing. It's one of those songs, late night driving, it's dark out. It's
Mhm.
so good. Jay Huss, Who Told You, featuring Drake. That is, I can't tell if he's British or Jamaican. But
British.
do you know who that is? Like the house
Yeah, J
song?
Hus. Yep.
Like, yeah. Fire song. I honestly like his part more than the Drake part. Who
Ooh.
told you Batman don't dance? It's
That should tell
fire.
you right there he's British just by that
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not good with accents. Dracula, Kenny Mason, but that album has a lot of songs I liked on it.
Yeah.
Um, Pit Stop, I don't IDK.
Mhm.
Two Summer from Cole, J. Cole on the Summer Walker album. Has that same vibe as Pretty Little Fears by Six Lack.
Mhm.
And it's just a J. Cole is fucking good. It's so
Yeah.
good. And Dominic Fike, Mona Lisa.
Oh,
I
shout out to
think
you.
that yeah,
Mm.
if that was the song that was supposed to be the sunflower of this
Mhm.
Spider-Man movie, I
Mhm.
think this song could easily be like a hit like that. I thought it was an
Yeah.
amazing song, and shout out Dominic Fike, it was a good song.
Smart move from the label who also included that in the album because originally it was supposed to be on the soundtrack, but I heard it's now on
Yeah,
the Metro Boomin
it's not.
soundtrack. That's
I don't know why.
crazy. Yeah, hey, you gotta make these sales, and that album, that song specifically is being listened to a lot, streamed a lot, and that's driving up the album sales as well. Last thing I wanted to talk about too before we close this, if you haven't been living under a rock, obviously we know that there's a writer and actor strike going on. The Screen Actors Guild, the SAG and Writers Guild (WGA) are obviously protesting against AMPTP, just of course for just negotiating in terms of finances and safety as well. And it's kind of crazy being a creative as well. Like everyone wants to be creative, right? Everybody wants to be an influencer. But people forget people in this field, they don't even have like insurances, retirement, 401k, benefits. They need to
It's
go into
fucked.
these unions. It's so messed up. So they need to go into these unions to at least have some hope that they can have some like stability. And these three main things why they're protesting, and essentially the contracts negotiate every 3 years, and this is the end of the third year, so now they're negotiating. One is because streaming has plateaued. If you think about it, no one uses cable anymore. Everybody uses streaming. If everybody's using
Mhm.
streaming, that means that you can't get more audiences. You can't raise the number of
Yeah,
people getting streaming because it plateaued. So because shareholders know this, they have been finding means and ways to kind of make money. And one of that thing is not giving raises and lowering down, salaries for workers. Two, of course, they're not getting enough income. Same thing with streaming and DSPs. They're not getting enough money from streaming alone, being split up across a bunch of different companies. And of course, AI, which has been so crazy because now
that
AI
part's
can make
freaky.
images. It's freaky, man. They can make images that can recreate artists, actors, and as well as background actors as well. So it's insane.
Yeah, when it comes to the AI thing, I saw that they were giving out contracts to actors that say they can use their face forever. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
anyone would ever sign that for a quick buck. That just does
Mm-hmm.
not seem worth it. But yeah, it's fucked up. Pay these guys. They're the only
Yeah.
reason why we have any entertainment. AI can't make the art that these people do. At the end of the day, it's a human field that can be more efficient using AI in some places, maybe using these new technologies, but it's all about humans. And you touched on like the 401ks and healthcare, and artists don't get that at record labels. And I've seen artists, I think it was Vince Staples, he's like, they want us to die.
Yeah.
He's like, if they really cared, they'd be giving me like dental insurance and all this shit. And it's facts. And
Yeah.
I think when people think about the strike, they're thinking about the Brad Pitts and the Leonardo DiCaprios. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about them. They have their money. It's about the guy who's writing for a Netflix TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and his whole job is writing this.
Yeah.
And now he's getting paid like you used to get paid every time, say, Friends was on TV. You got a check from that. Drake has posted about like his Degrassi checks he gets.
Mm-hmm.
But streaming, doesn't work the same way. It's similar to streaming with music. You're not getting like $1 for each time someone watches a Friends episode. So they haven't found the right way to distribute those funds. It's
Mm-hmm.
fucked up.
And I'm happy you mentioned about like celebrity status when it comes to actors. From The Guardian, bro, it said that 2% of all actors make a living from gigs. So this is not about those top artists. Majority of actors and writers aren't really making this high amounts of money that you're thinking. And this translates into the music industry. There's like maybe a few unions, but why aren't there any unions in the music industry? If it's 2% for the Hollywood, imagine what it is for the music industry. Majority of artists are not making the type of money you see Drake and Taylor Swift making. They can barely sell venues. They're barely making money from streaming. Why isn't this happening in the music industry? Why aren't people standing up? Why isn't Drake even or bigger artists standing up for this, you know?
Yeah. That's who I thought about instantly when you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Because you're saying like the Oppenheimer cast isn't going to the what's the premiere of the movie. People are like, these famous actors are a part of it because they're like, this is not about us, it's about the smaller people. So that'd be cool if artists were like, we're not dropping music until you start figuring out these streams. But honestly, I don't know the solution to the streaming. Like, I don't know what you do because these other, like, Spotify doesn't make money. Like, I think they're not a profitable company. So they're like, we literally cannot pay more. And that was the whole point of Tidal. But then people are like, I'm not paying fucking $20, even though it's still worth it because
Yeah.
$20 used to get you 2 albums and now gets you access to the entire music catalog of the world. So maybe it's on us. We should pay more.
I don't know, man. I
That's
think
the
it's a
only
little bit
solution.
disheartening. It's disheartening when you see big actors are standing up for the little guys, which is the majority. But there's even a question like Drake doesn't even need a label. Taylor Swift doesn't need a label. If they wanted to, they can go independent. And why wouldn't they? They would be keeping majority of the money they have now. So why don't they? And I heard that if Drake alone left the industry would crash or whatever. So is it just these background evil contracts are keeping them in? Because like I don't get it. If they
I
really
mean,
cared, they would be helping out.
didn't he get paid like $600 million? I mean, it's just straight up money. And he's like, word. I think he's fine with it. But hey, Logic got out of his deal and now he's making a Discord with all of his fans and releasing new
Mhm.
music. So it's definitely a cool thing to do as an independent artist, but
Yeah.
it's a hard path.
I think it'll
Hard
become more
path.
prominent, especially when AI really gets bigger. When it comes to writing things, writing lyrics, songwriting, that's going to be a whole heap of problems. But hey, guys,
Yeah.
you let us know what you think. I think all of this is whack. I think there needs to be more
It
unions.
sucks.
If you haven't done so already, go check out the website. Adam wrote a dope article about
shout out Reed Starks.
restarts. Shout out to Reed Starks. And if you made it to the very end, then you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and do all that jazz, man. But we'll see you in the next episode. We appreciate you guys. See ya.
Yeah. Peace.